evening, everyone, and welcome to Norristown's Roosevelt Field. I'm Jeff Brandon along with Walt Fry, and tonight your Norristown Eagles are taking on the Tigers of Harry S. Truman High School. And as the Eagles are about to come onto the field, Walt, let's talk a little bit about what this game means to the Norristown Eagles. Here they come into this ball game in excellent position for perhaps postseason play in PIAA 4A football. They're standing tall with a 4-1 record, have only lost one game to the top-ranked team in the state of Pennsylvania, the Bucks of Central Bucks West. But they can't ignore the Tigers tonight.
No, absolutely not. Truman is no pushover anymore, as their 3-3 record will show. In a tough division, as we know that Norristown and Truman play in, obviously they're better than some of the teams in this division.
Norristown, of course, has shown a great deal of ability this year. They played the Bucks in a fantastic game here at Roosevelt Field in a season opener, a 34-24 barn burner, one of the finest high school football games I've seen in a long, long time. And they've been steady. Steady the remainder of the season. They've played well against some good teams, most recently beating a very tough Council Rock squad.
Yeah, that's for sure, and really Norristown's steadiness is coming from their defense. They have great players and leaders on offense, but their defense last week, to show you how strong they are, took a big play, speedy Council Rock offense and just dismantled them. 7 turnovers, 5 interceptions, and that's from a quarterback who's a second-year varsity player, and with all their big weapons being second-year players and having the experience. Council Rock really came back with a strong offense this year, and we expected that to be a high-scoring game as well. Turned out defensive, and Norristown won that battle.
Yes, Norristown with a big victory against Council Rock, and Walt, you have to hope that the Eagles don't look too far ahead tonight with another big contest coming up next week against the Pennsbury Falcons.
Well, that's for sure. On any given night, anybody in this league can be beat, but Norristown certainly can't look ahead if they have to win every game from here on out if they think they have any shot of making the playoffs. They're actually sitting pretty well with CB Wet still to play the other two good teams in this league, Council Rock and Pennsbury. But I don't think Norristown will look past. I really think that if we see any little bit of letdown, they'll sort of be shaken up by halftime and should come out strong.
One of the things Norristown has really not done too well this year, except for that first game against West, is get the offense untracked in the first half. The offense has struggled a little bit early in the games this year.
Well, Norristown hasn't put up a lot of yards in any game, really. Maybe the CB West game, but their offense hasn't been powerful, but they've been very steady and not turning the ball over. That's the real key, especially in high school football, if you can force some other mistakes and get some good field position.
And as you take a look at the screen right now, out on the field, the Norristown captains in the home blue uniforms. They'll be defending the end zone. To the left of your screen, the Tigers have won the toss, and they've elected to receive, so the Eagles will be kicking off and moving from left to right on your screen. And the Tigers tonight in their white jerseys and gold uniforms, gold pants and helmets with the black striping. And Walt, an interesting thing, something you don't see too often at this level of high school football, a sophomore quarterback tonight for the Tigers.
That's for sure. We can't wait to see what we get from him. Their main weapon is their receiver running back, who's their main speed weapon. But it'll be interesting to see how a sophomore quarterback runs the show. And as we said, with that Norristown line getting good pressure and a really good linebacking play this year, it'll be interesting to see how he plays. We may look for some more turnovers as Truman would elect to go to the air.
And folks, we're just about ready to get underway here. It's a good crowd tonight. It was senior night here at Roosevelt Field, so we have a lot of parents in the stands, not only for the football players, but the cheerleaders and the band members as well. Really no adverse conditions, Walt. It was a beautiful day here in Norristown today. It's clear as a bell in the sky. There's no appreciable wind, and we haven't had rain for a few days, so the field should be in great shape.
No, this being our third home game, there's been nothing to affect any outcomes, and outcomes have been as expected.
And, of course, doing the kicking chores for the Eagles is number 7, Steve Davis, a soccer player who moonlights on Friday nights here at Roosevelt Field.
Yeah, well, he's the star of the soccer team. Got a good number of goals this year already, and doing a real nice job as Norristown kicker.
And Davis is ready and will start the game. The kick is low. It's going to be taken on one bounce at about the 7-yard line, bobbled there, picked up and taken to the middle. Player on the carry was number 7, Jim Gautieri, and really not a very effective run back, Walt, and the Tigers will start with not so good field position at their own 17-yard line.
No, that's certainly not the way they have to jump out against Norristown. We mentioned that Norristown's offense has been a little bit sluggish in starting this year. So if you can put some points on the board and get them behind, you're in pretty good shape. But that was not the way they wanted to start, with a pretty weak return.
Let's give you the starters very quickly for the Truman Tigers. At center, number 61, Scott Jensen. At guard, number 68, Herb Dixon. The other side, number 78, Tim Yoakum. We'll finish that off for you in just a moment. But at quarterback, it's number 13, Steve Slivka. 1st and 10. The handoff comes up the middle, and that is covered quickly by the Eagles. That was number 32, Marvell Rogers on the carry. And he did not, well, I guess he did get back to the line of scrimmage, Walt. We'll call that a pickup of about a half a yard on the play. Joining Rogers in the backfield is number 12, Mike Hansberry. We also expect to see a lot of number 45, Chris Rose, and number 48, Ray Traits. The rest of that Truman line, number 75, Thorin McGee, number 77, Matt Venezia. The guy to watch on the outside is split end Kevin Ingram, number 21. His teammate at flanker will be number 23, Manuel DeJesus. So on 2nd and 10 from the 18-yard line, it's the Tigers looking to the air. The quick out goes to the sideline. It's brought in by number 86 for the Tigers, Wayne Earhart.
And they're making the tackle. We see number 2, Damon Carroll, who really got his first solid action at defensive back last week and came out with an interception. Joining him in Norristown's defensive backfield will be Lamont Johnson. Quarterback Phil Galliano and Sidney Bull are the safeties. Linebackers been real good this year. Lofton Thompson, Jeff Butler, the defensive captain, and Rara Luzane. Across the front, the ends are Eric Stead and Darrell Ray. Tackles are Jeff Fiss and Tom McKernan, and they will give Slivka trouble tonight. He's a small quarterback.
And right now he's faced with 3rd and 3 from the 23-yard line. Same play again to the outside, and oh, what a stick that time. Put on by Damon Carroll, but I believe, Walt, it's going to be real close to a first down.
Well, Carroll's showing the explosiveness in the defensive backfield that he shows in the offensive backfield for the Eagles. As we might mention also, number 1, Omar Jenkins, is in the defensive backfield for Norristown, and we see number 89, that's Al Zone, playing some linebacker. And
the officials have waved for a timeout. They're going to bring the chains all over to the near side of the field to measure for the first down. That was the same play on 3rd down that we had seen on 2nd down, the quick out to number 86, Wayne Earhart, a senior wide receiver. And we'll see if we can't get you some indication. Roger Grove right on top of this situation. And it's just about a 3-inch shortfall for the first down. So on 4th down, and literally inches, we're going to have to see a punt here, I think, from the Tigers. Certainly that far deep in your own territory, you don't want to risk having a tough Eagle defense make a key play early in the ball game. No, and they are capable of doing it. Their linebackers fill the gap so well. Truman having a little success through the air, going short tonight so far. But you certainly can't count on that for the first down. Although I tell you, Walt, it doesn't look to me like they're setting up for a punt. Well, it is just so short if the quarterback could just fall forward. But it is risky with even the inch or two that it is. It's extremely risky. Wow. Boy, I tell you, I guess that's why I'm not a coach in PIAA. They're going to go for it on 4th and inches. There's the push forward. And, Walt, that looked good enough to me to be a first down. Yeah, that's almost impossible to stop, like we said, especially with big number 78, Tim Yoakum, up front. Just follow him across, and there's no way Norristown's going to push him back immediately. Well, I tell you, that's a gutsy call by head coach Jan Secek, and successful. I mean, he was at his own 27-yard line. If there's a miscue on the handoff, they bobble the snap, something like that, you've given Norristown a big break. But the carry was successful on the quarterback keeper, so it'll be 1st and 10 at about the 29-yard line of Truman. And they are going 3 wide, so they're really trying to spread this offense out and spread out the defense. Handoff goes to the first back through, and he penetrates into the secondary. Damon Carroll on the tackle, and it looked like number 45, Chris Rose. Check that. It was number 44, Rob Crozier, on the carry. And Crozier's hurt. Seems to be limping a little bit. I think Carroll really planted a helmet right into his thigh on that tackle. And, yep, he's limping off. Looks like he got a very serious Charlie horse. And I'm sure that's just real sore, and we'll see him back tonight. And, Walt, that time they really followed Yoakum across that left side. There was a big hole there for Crozier. And that was good enough for another first down, 11 yards on the carry. Truman has the ball at their own 40-yard line, 1st and 10. The pitch this time, they go to the outside. Oh, wow, good defensive play by Lamont Johnson. That time it was Marvell Rogers trying to go to the near side on the pitch, and Lamont Johnson stayed home and took care of business.
Yeah, with a real good block from Earhart that time. The back almost got around the end, but Johnson really supporting the run very well from his quarterback spot. Norristown defense just gaining confidence with every game. They're really supporting each other well, and knowing that they can go for the big tackles and the big plays because there's always someone behind them.
And there was a loss of a yard on that play. It'll be 2nd down and 11 with 8:50 to play here in the first quarter. The pitch this time goes quickly to the outside, and some good yardage there that time for number 12, Mike Hansberry.
Yeah, and the wide pitch worked that time. The Tigers caught Lucane trying to sneak into the backfield quickly, and the pitch just went to the outside. And once he got around that first linebacker, he could pick up some yardage.
Still going to bring up an interesting 3rd down yardage situation. 3rd and 4 is always that danger zone. Do you go to the air? Do you try something on the ground? I've got to believe with the passing mentality I think Truman has that we're going to see something in the air here. And Walt, we haven't seen Ingram get into the act yet here. He's wide right along with Manuel de Jesus.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be involved in this play. They're just looking for a first down.
And Carroll does come up on Earhart. They don't go to him, and good penetration by Jeff Fish. Late throw. It's dished off to Crozier, and he is wrapped up by Jeff Butler and company. And that was a bit of a busted play there, Walt.
Yeah, you're not going to get the first down against a speedy defense like Norristown when you're looking that wide. I said Ingram wouldn't be involved as he was split all the way right. And it looked like he was looking to him, or else his receiver in the slot. And they were just too wide against a defense that covers and pursues as well as Norristown does.
So this will bring up 4th down and more than inches, and I think we're going to see a punt this time from the Tigers. Loss of a yard on that last play brings up 4th and 5. Doing the punting chores is number 8, Hugh McFarland. Back deep for Norristown is number 81, Rich Hicks, along with number 11, Braheen Mitchell. Plenty of time. A nice kick. Mitchell's going to take it at the 25. He's got a little running room. Slips one tackle, and he's wrapped up at about the 32-yard line. And the Eagles will have their first offensive possession of the night.
That's a fairly successful defensive stand for the Eagles. Truman came out with something Norristown hasn't seen this year, and that's 3 wide receivers and throwing the ball quickly into the flat. But Norristown really adjusted to it well, especially being spread out so that the running game could get going. And Norristown with decent field position. See how they start.
We'll give you the Norristown starters on offense in just a moment. Of course, the quarterback is number 5, Phil Galliano. On first down, he's got Damon Carroll coming in motion. They hand to Carroll, who goes off the right side. He's into the secondary. He's got a first down, and he's brought down in the inside, almost to the 50-yard line. Starting with Damon Carroll in the backfield is number 6, Jeff Butler. Across the line for Norristown, we have center Dave Fazzini. The guards are Jason Fabian and Jeff Fiss. The tackles, Charles Lett and Tom McKernan. Eric Stead is the tight end. Wide receivers will have Braheen Mitchell and Rich Hicks. And we'll give you those Truman defensive starters after this first down play for the Eagles. Phil Galliano sets the offense. He's got Butler in the backfield, Carroll in motion again. This time to Butler off the left side. Butler twists and turns for about 6 on the carry. The big key defensively for the Tigers is number 78, Tim Yoakum, a 6'4", 270-pound senior.
Yeah, he anchors that line of also Jason Peace on the end. Damian Goldsmith and Ray Traits also on that line there. But Yoakum is the key. He's the big tackle in there and the guy that Norristown may want to stay away from.
2nd and 4 now inside Truman territory at the 48-yard line. This time they go to Carroll again off the right side. He's got room, and he's close to a first down, Walt.
Yeah, that time number 21, Kevin Ingram, had to make the tackle. That's his 2nd tackle in 3 Norristown plays. He's the safety back with Chris Becker. Marvell Rogers, number 32, and Manuel de Jesus, number 23, are the cornerbacks. And the linebackers, Sean Fetzer, Joe Goldie, and Ashu Mehta.
And that was good enough for a first down, so the Eagles moving the ball nicely on the ground here. 6 minutes to play here in a scoreless first quarter, and the Eagles on their first offensive possession of the evening. Rich Hicks is at the bottom of your screen. Braheen Mitchell split left. Butler in the backfield, Carroll in motion from the other side. He's going to take it. He is wrapped up in the backfield, somehow manages to slip the tackle of number 54, Sean Fetzer, but really barely manages to make it back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and Fetzer just learned a big lesson that he should keep with him for the rest of this night, and that's that you have to wrap Damon Carroll up. And if Damon Carroll can break 1 or 2 tackles, nobody's going to run him down. So they're going to have to be very careful with Carroll tonight.
And Walt, this Truman defense has played well this year, except for a CB West squad that rolled up about 240 yards last week. They have held their opponents to an average of about 150 yards a game, and that's not much offense. Galliano with a long count. Everybody stays put. Carroll on the pitch this time. Good block by Butler. Carroll cuts it back upside, bounces off a tackle. He is finally torn down by number 32, Marvell Rogers, and Damon Carroll has a loss on that play as well.
Now, the Tigers were ready that time. They had linebackers plugging the gaps right at the line, and they had their safeties coming up to support the run. They were really gambling on run that time, just short of a run blitz, you might say. And Carroll doing all he could, but wound up actually losing yards from the initial point of contact.
And we have an official's timeout. It looks like an equipment problem for number 11, Braheen Mitchell. And while we fix Braheen up here, we'll see what the Eagles can conjure up for a 3rd and 12 situation.
You know, you're beginning to see why Truman has given their opponents some problems this year, including a single-digit loss to Council Rock. And that is that they're imaginative and they're awfully creative and very active on both sides of the ball. While they may not be the most talented team in the division, they certainly will throw a lot of different looks. And you have a coach who's willing to do what it takes to win and stay close.
So again, the single back set with Jeff Butler in the backfield. Carroll does not come in motion. He goes out into the pattern. A quick shot over the middle to Eric Stead, and that falls incomplete. And Walt, I don't think it would have been good for the first down even if it had been caught. So that incompletion brings us to 4th and 12 for the Eagles, and we'll see Braheen Mitchell punting the ball here. And of course, Mitchell wants to pin the Tigers back as far as possible. Kevin Ingram, number 21, will be the return man, and he is a threat. The Eagles are going to have to cover this punt well. Mitchell's going to want to punt this ball away from Ingram as much as possible. It's an interesting play. Man set in motion. The snap does go to Mitchell. Good rush. Kick falls towards the sideline. There's a penalty on the play, and I think we're going to see an illegal man downfield, although I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, they're really trying to get down there quickly, knowing that what a threat Ingram is back there. And that was Alzone who came towards you and trying to get the one-on-one coverage so we could get down there and make the early hit on Ingram.
So we've got a flag on the field. The kick did go out of bounds, so certainly that precluded a run back. Would have only been good for a net kick of about 25 yards, it looked like to me, depending upon where the ball is spotted, and it looks like it's about the 22-yard line. And we have a call here against the Tigers. Looks like, well, we've got a penalty against Truman. So here's a big break for Norristown.
Illegal participation.
What's that mean? And the call is illegal participation, Walt. That's a new one on me. And it looks like we had too many men on the field, but that was a 10-yard penalty.
Yeah, they're going to take it from the spot of the snap, and it's going to still be Norristown ball. Big break there.
And first down. So rather than a change of possession, the Eagles have the ball 1st and 10 from the Truman 31-yard line. Galliano, the quick hit. Oh, he's got Hicks right there. What a beautiful play. And I'm wondering why Rich Hicks didn't run into the end zone there. He must have been really teetering on the sideline.
It was really, really a good catch. He had to reach up, a well-thrown ball by Galliano just to let Hicks blow by his man and get under it. I think Hicks was sort of leaning out of bounds and stretching to make that catch. But what a fabulous play, and we haven't seen Rich Hicks a lot involved in the offense this year for Norristown. Any receiver play has been from Braheen Mitchell. But Hicks is a good receiver, speedy, and he's tall. And that time Norristown made great use of him, fading him into the corner, and you saw him blow by his man.
And that was good for 27 yards on the play. It'll be 1st and goal now from the 3-yard line. There's Damon Carroll. He goes into a bunch of defenders, and he does not make it into the end zone.
And Norristown tried to play straight power football that time and pounded into the end zone. And that Truman line is certainly showing some resolve, not allowing a lot of big carries yet tonight.
And Walt's showing a little respect to Tim Yoakum, running away from him, running to the right side rather than to the left.
Yeah, well, in short yardage situations, the big guy is not the guy you want to run into because he doesn't have to move if you run into him. In other situations, you may want to try to trap him or misdirect him. But in this case, he's just a mountain out there, and you're not going to get through him.
Backs in the eye again. This time, Damon Carroll. Oh, boy, he stopped cold again. This time, looks like he probably lost a yard on the play. Well, the Eagles are finding things not so easy going down there.
Yeah, and you're seeing number 71, Eric Schrader, just came into the game for Tom McKernan. Schrader provides a little more size, while, of course, McKernan has excellent technique and experience and is a tremendous lineman, big as well. But Schrader comes in on that right tackle spot.
Now we've got a stoppage of play here on third down. It's a timeout called by Truman.
And I saw something a little bit different there with Mitchell and Hicks both spread wide. I think they were probably just counting on another pounded into the line play, or at least a sweep to the backs. But no, Norristown threw a little look at him as then Schrader comes out, and obviously that little change-up that they threw them worked.
So the Eagles on 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line after a big play, a Phil Galliano touch pass, beautifully thrown to Rich Hicks. Hicks unable to keep his balance and carry it into the end zone. But boy, I tell you, that was a real nice play. Phil Galliano's accuracy this year, Walt, just a shade above 50% coming into this game. Really, the Norristown offensive strength has been the way they've run the option and the running game.
Yeah, that's for sure. And again, with tremendous athletes in the backfield, a lot of that can go back to Galliano as well. He really handles the ball and hides the ball well, and lets his athletes back there do everything that they can, use every bit of their ability. But it is saying something that his accuracy is so high, because Norristown doesn't run a very high percentage passing game. When they do go to the air, it's usually for a big play like we just saw. Phil Galliano is not the best at going over the middle, and so Norristown doesn't do that a whole lot.
Key play for Norristown right here. 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line. Again, the backs are in the eye. Mitchell to the right. Galliano on the keeper on the option, and it looks like he's stopped short, Walt. He's close, but not into the end zone. The players want to go for it. We'll see what Roger Grove says.
Yeah, Galliano committed a little bit early there. Just sort of took it around his guard and went underneath the tackle. And Truman really diagnosed that well.
And Roger Grove calls timeout. Boy, we're seeing a lot of posturing here by the coaches in the first quarter of this ball game. And I think part of it, Walt, even though we only have 2:35 remaining in the first quarter, plenty of time in this game, Roger Grove realizes he's got a tough defense there, and he wants to take full advantage of being so close in enemy territory.
Yeah, they're extremely tough, and he also knows that his offense has been slow to start. And while Norristown has played very solidly and won their games, you can't do that forever. Against maybe an underrated team like Truman, although, of course, Roger Grove and his players aren't underrating them. But you can't do that forever and come out and start slow, because somebody's going to burn you eventually, and you never know when you may turn the ball over in a bad spot. So he wants to get 7 here, certainly not settle for a field goal.
Well, that carry by Galliano went for about 3 yards, but it's certainly a full yard to the end zone. It's going to be interesting to see what Roger decides to do here.
I don't expect any trickery, really. I would look for Carroll again.
Galliano takes the snap. There it is. Damon Carroll. Close. Fumble. No score. It's going to be Truman ball. Boy, I'll tell you, we haven't seen that very much this year.
No, and I think Carroll's a little bit frustrated. He's been stopped short yardage a couple of times and really giving it his all to get into the end zone. That time, Truman players just hung on to his arm and managed to pry the ball away.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a huge play. The Truman defense really came up big down there. Damon Carroll got bounced off a couple guys, had the ball ripped loose from him. Truman would have taken possession on downs in any event, and they'll be starting from their own 2-yard line, 1st and 10.
Yeah, but Truman's going to have to be very careful here because they could give Norristown the back in good field position in a hurry.
3 guys in the backfield. They go to number 12. That's Mike Hansberry. Hansberry off the right side from that 3-back formation. Let's call it 2 yards, almost 3 on the carry. Make it 2nd down and 7.
Yeah, and you could have booked that. They went over their guard Yoakum to try and just pound it out and get themselves a little bit of room. Now with around the 5-yard line, they have a little more room to be imaginative.
So with 1:28 to play in the first quarter, they hand off the left side. Looked like the way the players reacted, Walter, it was almost a loose ball on that play as well.
I think Truman knows that they came up with a very big play and a big stop there, but they don't want to do anything foolish right here. That loose ball, although I'm sure they'll have something here on a 3rd and 4, as we said, very, very interesting call here. I'm sure they realize that they may just take that as a big stop, try and push Norristown back some and even the playing field once again.
Well, we'll see what quarterback Steve Slivka has up his sleeve here. No alliterative intent there. They look for Earhart. It's going to be a safety. Nope. Slivka manages to dump the ball away with 2 Norristown defenders hanging all over him. That was number 72, Tom McKernan, number 66, Jeff Fiss. And he was joined in the backfield there by number 31, Sharif Khalid. Boy, that's great pressure. It looks like on that play, Walt, I'm a little surprised they went with a straight drop. They were looking for Earhart off the left, but Slivka couldn't get the ball out to him, and I thought we were going to see a safety there.
Yeah, well, he's lucky Earhart got out there, or else it would have been intentional grounding, and of course that in the end zone is a safety. But you saw the big players go up the big plays. The 2 tackles busted up the middle that time and really broke that play up.
Hugh McFarland in his own end zone to punt. The Eagles come after him. McFarland kicks it high. It's a good kick. It'll be taken at about the 40, takes a Norristown bounce. And it's going to be downed in excellent field position for the Eagles, and a good job that time by Rich Hicks. Hicks was ready to protect the ball, allowed it to hit, and it kicked back, and Norristown will, looks like, take possession right on the 30-yard line.
Yeah, Hicks had a Truman Tiger bearing down on him that time. He knows if he catches that ball, he's really going to take a shot because he would have had no time to make a move. But saw the direction of the ball. He just glanced up at it and let it hit, realizing what it was going to do. A real smart play by Rich Hicks. Sometimes the smartest play and the best thing you can do for your team is not touch it at all.
So the Eagles come up big defensively after being stopped cold at the goal line on their last offensive series. They're able to kick the ball back to the offense and let Phil Galliano give it a try again with great field position. 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Damon Carroll comes in motion. They fake the handoff. Galliano looks to the area at Hicks open, drops it off to Jeff Butler. I guess that play all along was set up for the short dump to Jeff Butler. Rich Hicks, I was looking upfield, was 4 steps beyond the defender.
Yeah, but Galliano's going to have to be set, and he was still backing up on his back foot. They were really trying to draw the defense in and then set up that little screen to Butler. And that time it was just a little bit behind, and Butler got turned around a bit, and the throw was a bit too high. But a well-conceived play that time, and would have liked to see that one work. It could have gotten some good yardage.
I think Norristown's going to have to be a little imaginative tonight with their offensive set. This Truman defensive front has proven itself to be formidable. 2nd and 10, Eric Stead goes to the other side. Now we're going to have a penalty. Stead and Galliano going at each other a little bit down there. You don't like to see that on the field. And it's going to be an illegal procedure call against the Eagles. It looked like Galliano gave Stead the word to slip to the other end, and I think we had another Norristown player moving, didn't we, Walt? In any event, it was illegal procedure against the Eagles. It'll back them up 5 yards, and now it's 2nd and 15.
Yeah, and Norristown realizes that they have to do something, and they've thrown off their game a little bit. Not that they don't have these plays in their playbook, but it's something they're not used to doing. They've been playing pretty much straight power football, a little misdirection with their backs, and winning games. And now they're going to have to come up with something else, trying to score early in this game.
21 seconds to play in a scoreless first quarter. Galliano seems confused again. might be making some kind of a change at the line of scrimmage. Excellent blocking. Galliano turns the corner, gets back 5 yards, crosses the original line of scrimmage, gets about 7 on that carry. But I tell you, did you see the way they had Yoakum locked up there on that left side?
Yeah, and I think Galliano did make a change there at the line, as we saw the right cornerback drop off in coverage. But Norristown that time went with something we haven't seen a lot, and that's the one back with Jeff Butler. So Norristown throwing in some different looks, and while Galliano was making the change, it was the Truman defense that looked confused.
And that's the last play of the first quarter. We'll change sides of the field here, a march down the field, as the Eagles will be faced with a challenging 3rd and 9 situation from the Truman 29-yard line. And Walt, a scoreless first quarter, not unusual for Norristown this year.
Scoreless, but very exciting.